Congratulations on purchasing our Prodigy Bio. This is our elite, purpose-built decontamination machine. It boasts 3000 psi at the tool head and can decontaminate like no other machine can. This video is a supplement to the operator's manual that came with your machine. Please take some time to review that manual before operating this machine. Not reading it will void your warranty. Always be aware of your surroundings and be in control of the equipment at all times. This is the best machine on the market, however it can also be dangerous if you do not pay attention to what you are doing. This video will help you understand your machine and teach you proper usage of the Prodigy Bio. The Prodigy Bio was designed to be easy to use, manage, and maintain by a professionally trained machine operator. However, it is important that you understand what the different components are on your Bio. Let's start with an overall view and go from there. The Prodigy Bio that you see here has two major components, the main body and the water waste tank on the right. This also has several controls and gauges that we will go over later. If we look below the control panel, we will see the air intake for the engine. This is to always be kept clear of debris. Your engine needs to breathe air, so it is important not to let leaves, branches, mud, vehicle doors, or other objects block this area. If we continue downward, we see brass fittings. These are from left to right, the cold incoming water inlet and the hot high pressure outlet, or HHPO. These are where you will hook up your chemical lines and water source to. Just to the right and down from that, we see a black steel connector. That is the exhaust for the Bio. Again, keep this clear of debris. The water waste tank portion has the water reservoir, the vacuum connection, the dump valve, and finally the chemical jug, which also has 4 different names. It can be called the chemical jug, the head pack, the stock solution, or the concentrate. Different brands of different chemicals will call it by these different names. This is why we are familiarizing you with them. But for the purposes of consistency on all PowerPlus DCU material, it will be referred to as the chemical jug. Going back to the main body of the Prodigy Bio, we come to the control panel. Here, we find a cluster of gauges, knobs, and controls that operate this machine. It might look daunting, but after we review them, you will know how each one works and how to use it in the field. Our first control on the left is the hour meter. The hour meter is there to keep track of how many hours the machine has been in service and to know when to provide scheduled services to the machine. Your included manual has a list of the services to provide to your machine during those hours. Be sure to adhere to those schedules. Please refer to that guide to familiarize yourself with that schedule and have certified technicians perform those tasks when needed. Please contact PowerPlus Cleaning Solutions or affiliate for services or contacts that are certified to do the servicing. Next on the panel is the vacuum gauge. This gauge is measured in inches of vacuum. The higher the number, the more vacuum is being produced at the tool's head. This gauge will also help you monitor how well your machine is running and any adjustments that might be required until the proper vacuum levels are produced. Moving on is a hot, high pressure outlet, or HHPO. It is very important that you keep an eye on this gauge, as the pressures that this machine operates at are critical and should always be maintained for optimum efficiency. By not monitoring this and other gauges, you can cause permanent damages to the Prodigy Bio. Self-check pressures regularly. An ideal situation would be to have radio communications with those in the field and having them request changes be made to the machine operator. Consult your field supervisor for further planning. The key switch on this machine is found next on the panel. It is a 3-position switch where the normal off position should be straight up and down. One click to the right sets the key at a 45-degree position and is the on position. This activates all the gauges and preps the machine. The final position is one more turn to the right and this starts the engine. The tall, clear plastic piece next to the keyhole is the chemical meter. This shows the ratio levels of how much chemical to water you are mixing per hour. Simply put, as you use the machine, you want to know how much chemical to water mixture is happening, and this meter gives you that guide for minor adjustments and for continued efficiency. We will go over how to use this in the operations portion of the video. Moving to the right, we find 2 objects, one above the other. We will start with the one above. This knob and button control the throttle of the machine, hence the name throttle control. It can be operated in 2 ways. First, if you want to operate your Prodigy Bio at full throttle, simply push in the button and pull out the knob toward the operator all the way until it stops. the engine will then be running at full throttle. If you need to make minor gradual adjustments to the throttle, you can simply twist the knob and make gradual changes. Right turn or clockwise slows the engine down, while left turn or counterclockwise increases the rotations per minute or RPM. With the knob all the way in, the engine will run at idle speed. Just below the throttle is the choke. At times, when the engine is cold or simply hasn't been run in a long time, there is a need to pull out this little knob until it stops, hold it there, turn on the engine, and after no more than 5 seconds has passed, release the knob and allow it to return to its normal position. If the knob fails to return automatically, push the knob in until it is back at its normal ready position. The engine should be running normally at this point and soon will be ready for operation. The last knob in this cluster is the pressure control. This is where you will adjust how much pressure is behind the water and chemical mixtures at the tool's head. Right turn or clockwise will turn the pressure up, while a left turn or counterclockwise will turn down the pressure. Different pressures are needed to clean different items. Without proper pressure settings, you can cause harm to the environment or another person if they were to come in contact with the water streams. As an example, you can cut flesh at 800 psi. Every situation may call for different chemical and equipment needs. However, when preparing your Prodigy Bio, we recommend that you remove the chemical jug from its tray and mix your chemicals away from the machine. This way, you can rinse dry off the outside and minimize the damages that many chemicals will do to the exterior of the Prodigy Bio. Each chemical will have its own specification on how to mix it properly. Always go with a recommended solution mixture. After completing your mixing, replace the chemical jug to the Prodigy Bio and inspect the filter found at the bottom of the hose to be placed back in the chemical jug. If you find debris on it, simply clean the filter and place the hose back in the jug. Next, attach your water supply to the water inlet on the Prodigy Bio. Simply pull back on the quick disconnect collar with a firm push the valve onto the stem and release the collar. Make sure the water supply is turned on and the water pressure is running to the machine. One way to test this is to stand on the hose and feel the water pressure under your feet. If the hose remains stiff, then pressure is being well maintained. If the hose collapses, then begin troubleshooting the water supply as it may have been turned off, does not have service, or is damaged. Open the valve on the bleeder hose. This will allow water to flow freely from this end and prevent the engine from overheating. Not opening this valve when you start the engine can result in damaged starter solenoids, battery damage, and damaged starter motors. The other part that can cause load on the engine is having the vacuum hose hooked up too early. The engine should always be under no load when starting or stopping it. If the vacuum hose is connected before starting the engine, remove it. If the vacuum hose is connected before turning off the engine, again, remove it. If you compare this to a car, it would be the same as trying to start the car while in gear. Your car would simply load up, stall, and potentially damage the components that start the car. This holds true for not opening this valve. Now that you understand the importance of this, let's move on. As you continue your pre-start procedures, you will want to verify the pressure settings of the pressure control. Always verify that the machine was left with no more than 500 psi set on the pressure control. You can check this by simply feeling how much tension is on the knob. If it turns freely, you are most likely at a good starting point. If there is tension on the turn, then turn the handle back counterclockwise until it turns easily. Always start and stop your engine at idle speed. Just below the throttle is the choke. At times, when the engine is cold or simply hasn't been run in a long time, there is a need to pull out this little knob until it stops, hold it there, turn on the engine, and after no more than 5 seconds has passed, release the knob and allow it to return to its normal position. If the knob fails to return automatically, push the knob until it is back at its normal ready position. The engine should be running normally at this point and soon will be ready for operation. Now that the engine has been running and the water is coming out of the bleeder hose, close the valve of the bleeder hose and verify that you are at no more than 500 psi on the pressure gauge. If above, then adjust the pressure control until the pressure reads 500 psi or below. Reopen the valve on the bleeder hose. This is to prevent overheating and allow more time to adjust the chemical meter. It is important to note the proper water to chemical ratio that is required by the different chemicals. Always consult the chemical container for proper truck mount procedures and mixtures. This will directly affect how you set the chemical meter on the Prodigy Bio. Set the mixture by adjusting the little knob at the bottom of the mixture meter. This is a ratio meter, so you will set it accordingly. 5:1 means that you would set your meter where the bubble would rise to 5 on the level. This happens only in the first few seconds, so be quick about setting this. Once the water level is full in the reservoir tank, you will not be allowed to adjust the meter unless you reconnect the bleeder hose and bleed out some of the extra water so that you can reset your mixture valve. Now your machine is ready to go. Close the valve on your bleeder hose and disconnect it. Allow the water to drain from this hose and stow it away. Connect your solution hose to the HHPO or hot high pressure outlet. Make sure the valve on the hose is in the closed position. If it is closed, water will not be coming out the other end. This will allow you to connect the hose to the desired tool. Remember, you cannot attach a tool to a hose under pressure from water. Connect the other end to the tool of your choice. In this case, we will demonstrate with a wand. Connect the other end of the solution hose to the wand as shown. Crack open the high temp bypass as shown here. This valve prevents the machine from overheating. It is important to remember to keep the valve cracked partially open whenever the wand is not in use or going to be left alone for more than 2 minutes. Equally important is to remember to close the valve when the tool is in use. Otherwise, you have pressure bleeding off instead of being directed into the tool's head where it is useful. Attach the vacuum hose from the wand to the machine. Return to the wand and prepare to use. Avoid leaving wands with the nozzles in the dirt or mud. This prevents debris from clogging the jets and helps ensure proper operation of the wand. Different scenarios call for different pressures to be sure that the environment is properly cleaned and not damaged. Before beginning any cleaning process, consult your field supervisor, manual, or action plan for proper pressure settings. Set your machine to the suggested levels and continue your cleaning procedures. To properly utilize the wand, spray the water until hot water is coming out. Never put your hand directly in front of the wand. This video shows that the pressure coming out of these wands is more than enough to cut through flesh above 800 psi. It makes short work of this cardboard box. As the wand is ready, pull the trigger and place the wand back on the surface. Drag toward the user, allowing the water to be collected via the vacuum hose. Release the trigger and place the head of the wand at the top of the previous stroke with a 2-inch overlap. Repeat the process until the entire area has been cleaned. When leaving the wand to rest for any period of time, always crack open the high temp bypass until the wand is ready to be put into service once more. Avoid any length of time where the pressure is not being released via the trigger and/or the pressure valve. This will prevent overheating and damaging the Prodigy Bio. Once you have completed cleaning the area and it is time to shut down, reduce the working pressure to 500 psi or lower. Again, if you feel the knob is turning without tension, you are most likely at that level. Verify this by looking at the gauge. Reduce the chemical mixture control to 0 to stop the flow of chemicals into the machine. Run the solution hose for a few seconds to clean the line of any chemicals remaining. Close the valve at the HHPO. Crack the high temp bypass valve one last time on the wand to release any pressure still remaining in the chemical hose line. Disconnect the wand from the chemical hose and the hose from the machine. Reconnect the bleeder hose to the machine and open the valve on the HHPO and bleeder hose. Be sure to stand on the hose as it will have a lot of pressure behind it and can easily get loose and possibly hurt someone or something close by. Let the water drain for 2 minutes. Verify that the pressure is below 500 psi. Return the engine to idle. Turn off the engine by returning the key to its original upright position. Close the HHPO valve. Disconnect the bleeder hose, let it drain, clean, and store. Turn off the water source. Close valve at the water inlet and disconnect the hose. Clean and store all hoses and accessories. Make sure wand jets are clear of debris and mud before storing. Locate proper dumping drain for dumping wastewater. With the auto pump out assembly, this machine meets most city requirements for water dumping. Check with local city offices to verify where you can dump this water to avoid being fined. After you have located the drain, screw on your hose to your dump valve located at the base of the water tank. Once the water has been drained, return the valve down again, disconnect the hose, clean, and store. Check filter and waste tank for debris and possible objects collected during the cleaning process. Clean the filter if necessary. Once all these procedures are complete, it is always a good idea to make sure your equipment gets a wipe down to wipe off the excess dirt and water to keep up appearance and prolong the life of your machine. This is not an inexpensive investment, so you will always want to keep it at top performance. Proper cleaning and maintenance and care can extend your machine's life by hundreds of hours. Improper care can result in a drastic reduction of the life of the machine. As with regular inspections, maintenancing, and servicing, there are a few things you could and should do on a regular basis to keep things running smoothly. With every load of the chemical jug, check the filter at the end of that hose that goes into the jug. Be sure that it remains clear of clutter and debris. A wipe down of this usually is enough, but replace if necessary. In the water tank, check the filter that is connected to the vacuum line. If someone has lost a valuable and was sucked up by the bio, it is most likely in that trap. If you are running an inline filter, check there first, as that is the purpose of these filters. The waste tank can collect debris and things that will gunk up the tank and prevent proper performance. Be sure you clean, wash down this tank at least once a week with constant use. Make sure all scheduled maintenance and services are performed. See Operator's Manual for more. On the backside of the Prodigy Bio is the engine and components that drive the machine. Let's break down the different components. First, you have the engine, the water pump, the battery, blower, and directly below all that is a heat exchanger. This is your water mix tank. The exhaust diverter is extremely important to know. Normally, the heat exchanger takes the hot air from the exhaust, heats up the water with it, and produces hot water to the tool head. However, when you want cool water or show up to a location where water may have been turned off but still need to use your machine, you will want to bypass the heat exchanger and allow your machine to run without the need of water. The exhaust diverter was designed to do exactly that. To utilize the diverter, pull the pin, rotate the knob to the left or counterclockwise 90 degrees, and let the pin settle into its new position. After your job is complete, return the knob back to its upright, normal position. For maintenance and troubleshooting help, you will need to know what some of the switches and lights are on the machine. These include visual indicator light, low water shutdown. This can help troubleshoot ignition problems. This is the incoming water switch. The pump out switch is for the auto pump out shown here. On the engine itself, a couple important things to know are your oil dipstick. Pull this out and verify that the oil is at the level indicated on the dipstick. This plug is where you will fill the oil. There are two fuel filters. One is here and the other is here. Your blower is an important part of your machine and requires that the oil be changed according to your prescribed maintenance schedule. Remove the blower fill bolt and check bolt. Fill the blower with a special oil until it begins to run out of the indicator. Replace both bolts when finished. This is the water pump dipstick. Fill the pump until the middle of the notch is reached. This is your SOVC. Other hoses you will want to be aware of include engine oil drain, blower oil drain, and your pump oil drain. When replacing your cover, be sure that the cover is seated properly and replace the rubber clamps at the bottom of the cover. This concludes the operation manual video for the Prodigy Bio. Thank you for watching. Be sure to watch our other videos on proper cleaning techniques, chemicals, and tool usage.